film incentives are a race to the bottom. It's just like sports welfare. It's just like any corporate welfare. It's just a race to the bottom. You just have different states that you had an entire industry and production companies built just to exploit film incentives. They didn't care about the script. They didn't care where the story took place. They're like, can we shoot it in Louisiana? Can we shoot it in Canada? Can we shoot it in Georgia? Where can I just milk the taxpayers and the municipalities for as much public money as possible to line my private interests? And so I'm not a big, we have, when they exist, it's kind of like when you do your taxes. You go to your accountant and you say, I want to pay as little as I legally can. You know, I got to do my part here, but like obviously, if I'm eligible for anything, let me know. And so when the film incentives exist, we certainly signed up for them when that was a thing. In fact, we have contracts with major distributors or cable networks or studios that require us contractually that when film incentives exist that we might be eligible for, we're required to actually put in the time and effort and resources to try to get them just so we could write them a check back essentially for them. So it's gotten so out of control that it's now like it becomes our obligation as producers. Like even if we didn't want it, we were like, you know what, it's more trouble than it's worth, we'd be required to do it in order to, or they could sue us for breaching the agreement for not. So I'm not a big, I don't advocate for them. I certainly have not been to Tallahassee or called my local congressperson, or state representative to advocate for them. It's like if they're there, we're there. But we have a small business here. We're not like we need to be incentivized to get up and go to work every day. Our incentive is because we have employees that we have to provide for. We have mouths to feed who work hard for us every day. So we need to go out and do and develop opportunities for us in our company. I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see less the tourism bullshit. Okay, of like, oh, we need big studios to come in here and do stuff. Netflix still does it. They want to get it right. They do Bloodlines and The Keys, despite the fact that there's no film incentive. You know, some shows just go, oh, there's no more film incentive. We're just going to cancel the show. It doesn't make sense to do the show anymore. It's probably just a bad way of just doing business in general. Netflix does it the right way. Netflix is like, well, the Keys are a character in this story. We don't care if the state isn't giving us money. The government, the taxpayers of Florida, most of whom are broke, aren't writing Netflix a check. Netflix is like, no, that's where we need to tell this story. And I love working with Netflix, but it's in part because of that kind of thinking. And this idea that like, I don't need to be incentivized to work in Miami. I have a business here. I'd like to see municipalities in the state do more for that. You understand, we had a film incentive that we were eligible for. I think it was on Cocaine Cowboys 2, for example. And while the film commissioner was writing multi-million-dollar checks to 20th Century Fox in Los Angeles, we were struggling to get our whatever. I don't even remember how much money it was, but it wasn't $1 million plus, because they didn't understand the accounting of a documentary film. They're like, how many hotel nights do you have? Because for them, it's all about tourism. It's all about bringing productions in here from elsewhere. But we what do you mean? We hire local crews. We buy food from local businesses. We pay rent to local developers and realtors and landlords. Then all of our people put their money into local banks. And all of our business accounts are in South Florida. Meaning like we 100%, instead of writing a check to Los Angeles, to some multi-billion-dollar publicly traded film studio, 100% of our revenue stays right here in this economy. And we had to struggle with Tallahassee just to, with all of our books and all the audits and all the, and they just, so even the people there didn't understand how to effectively administer the film incentive when we had it. And we should be incentivizing people to start small businesses here, like our company, not to bring tourists in. Tourists know we're here. If they want to come here and spend money and exploit our natural resources, they know where to find us. You know, this money that we spent on Greater Miami and the beaches, all this bullshit through the TDT tax, which is a total scam, 100% scam, that it has to either go to tourism or it has to go to sports welfare. That's what Tallahassee says we have to spend. Horseshit. Horseshit. If you don't invest in infrastructure, if Jackson doesn't have a world-class trauma center, if we don't have roads, if we don't have sewage, if we're all underwater, we don't have police officers and teachers, tourists can't come here. So the idea that the TDT should be so limited to these sort of scammy types of things, I ideologically don't believe in it. But again, there's a lot of laws that I don't agree with, but that I still follow. So when the laws are on the books, you follow the laws on the books. You register for the film incentive or whatever. But mostly I see it as a total exploitation of the taxpayers. Is there a better way of doing it? With when they were writing a check, I thought that wasn't the way to do it. But are there other ways to incentivize productions? I suppose. We did a pilot with Bruckheimer Television that was supposed to take place in Miami in 1978. We shot it in San Juan, Puerto Rico, because they were giving as much as 25, 30, 40% back on certain line items. So they went and produced a $7-8 million pilot that was supposed to be in Miami and San Juan, Puerto Rico. Didn't really look anything like Miami, incidentally, because the Puerto Rican government was writing them checks.